Howdy, all, welcome back to Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Come on, go down the stairs, man. Or ladder. Alright, I'm still moving stuff over. My broke leg for another 16 minutes. Uh, it's alright though, I got a splint on it, I got a mini bike over here to ride back and forth. It's all good. Uh, alright, let's see. So last night we played our D&D game. It didn't get very far before I got irritated. I'm not gonna lie. So we're playing online, and sometimes there's a little bit of lag in the software we're using. And so there's a little bit of lag last night. And so, um, we get in this spot, and we're moving through these caves, right? And the caves are in like the whole floor is swamp, I guess, but they're caves all over the place. And so we're moving along, and we go into this one cave from where we had just finished previously, which was 2 weeks ago. And these guys see us, right? No big deal, whatever. So we fight them, and we kill them, and then there's this other guy who's with them. We kill him. We've been having problems with this particular group the entire time we've been playing, and the last time we tried to help one of them, he led us into a massive trap that we almost died from. So we weren't taking any chances this time. And then the DM's like, well, it's a good thing that you did that, because I'd already rolled and he was going to steal from you if you didn't kill him. Like, oh, good. And so then we get, we're trying to figure out where we want to go from that point, and the DM is like, I'm not even gonna have you really move over there, but on your right, he says, is a dead end cave. And so I move my character to the right, and I'm like, this isn't a dead end cave. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see a dead end cave this way. He says, yeah, this spot right here. Well, it's not showing up on my screen because I'm lagging. Not the cave, but when you hold down your mouse, it makes a little expanding concentric circle to let people know what you're pointing at. And well, that wasn't showing up where I was at. And so I was like, I don't see your marker. What do you mean? The cave is a dead end. It's not a dead end. Do you mean over on the left? And he's like, no, over where you were at before. And I'm like, right, but that's to the right, and that's not. This just keeps going. And he's like, no, it doesn't. It's uh, you're looking at the wrong thing. And I'm like, well, obviously I'm looking at the wrong thing because I can't figure out what you're talking about. Oh man. Now we got no room. I guess we could dump some stuff in the bike. So we go check that out. And so then the the other guy that we're playing with, he's like, I don't know where you're talking about either. And I'm like, I think I'm getting some lag. He's like, oh, well, that must be, the DM's like, oh, that must be what the problem is. You can't see what we're doing. And I'm like, Yeah, but you said to go to the right, and that's not a dead end. Like, I can see the map. That's not a dead end. And he's like, no, not the right. I didn't say to go to the right. I'm like, yeah, you did say to go to the right. That's why I immediately started going to the right. No, I meant over here, which is left. We're both looking at the same map. It's in the same orientation. It's not like we're sitting across the table and he meant his right, not my right. No, we're looking at the same orientation on this map. So I don't even know what he was talking about when he told me it was to the right. And so I'm like, okay, so you're talking about this over here is a dead end. Oh no, I'm sorry, we hadn't even reached that point because then he was like, yeah, you just go up on the over here on the left, you just go up and move your up on land, and you can go deeper into the tunnel. And I'm like, what do you mean go up on the land? This is just more of the swamp, and it's a dead end cave now. Um, you told us to go in the dead end cave. Now I've moved over into the dead end cave. What do you mean it goes up onto land? And the other guy's token was also in the cave where I was at. And he's like, yeah, I don't, this doesn't open up. And the DM's like, you guys need to refresh your map. Uh, Obviously it's not loading. And I'm like, well, this part over here where you said to go is does not go up on the land. And he's like, I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about this part over here. I'm like, oh, over to the right. And he's like, no, over to the left. I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about, man. You keep changing directions. And so I reload it and I'm like, look, this is over here. This is left. He's like, yeah, I told you to go left into that cave. And now you got to go right. And the other guy's like, no. And I'm like, no, that's the opposite of what you told us. Stop yelling at us. You're the one that's screwing up the directions. Um, and so he's like, I never said to go to the right. I told you guys to go left in the first place. I'm like, nope, you definitely said right because I started exploring to the right. Your map just wasn't loaded in. That's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm starting to get irritated at this point because he is insane last night. And so then we get into a fight with a different thing, and there's these two spirit nagas. Now, at that point, because the map might not have been loading, I had loaded up the adventure so I could check the map because I often check the map to... Oh, where did I go? I totally went too far the wrong way. I often check the adventure trying to make sure, or the map to make sure that what I'm seeing on the map is matching up with, what the book says and stuff. And so this fight gets started, and the very first thing he does is cast this spell called Dominate Person. And I forgot to check how many people it could affect. But he said it affected all of us, and that we had to roll saves against it. And so I'm really starting to think, oh no, you know what it is? He cheated. I mean, that's where this is going. He cheated. He cheated twice in that. So not only did the two creatures cast Dominate Person, but they also did some other stuff. And I'm really, really getting irritated by his letting monsters take multiple turns on a turn, because he's done it several times over the last few sessions. And so we let's see. I still need to go over a road. So these things cast this spell, Dominate Person, which basically lets them control you. And the only way to get out of it is to take damage, or the creature loses its concentration on the spell. And so of course he always rolls super high, always, which is beyond irritating. And not always, I guess, but far more often than I feel he should. And so, but Dominate Person is a save against spell, and so we have to roll to save against it. And so, I roll, and I roll a 15, and he says that's not high enough. And so I look at the stats on the creature, and the number to not get dominated is a 14. He changed it to a 16 because he was mad that his spell didn't take effect. Because the next creature we fought that was the same thing was a 14 like it was supposed to be. It's so irritating when he does that. Because it changes the level of the creature, and we don't get any bonuses from it being a more difficult creature. Oh, I forgot to grab all that stuff out of the... What was that? But yeah, so I got pretty irritated during that fight. And I was a little bit busy when we were supposed to get started, and so I will take some of the blame for not getting a full session in last night. But man, the DM would not stick with the game. He kept going off to do other things, which was also starting to get pretty irritating. You know, I want to leave that bedroll in here, I guess. And yeah, so it wasn't a long session. Oh, and then like at this point I'm so irritated. I'm reading what's supposed to happen. Um just cuz I like to tell the story today about how the DM changed the game, but in ways that is super irritating to me. Now not every change is super irritating. I don't have a problem making monsters harder. That's not my issue. My issue is that he makes the monsters harder, but we don't get a bonus. So it'd be like, I mean, it just is. You fight a creature, the game buffs the stats to level 10 from a level 1 creature. You think it's going to be a level 1 creature, but it fights like a level 10. It has the hit points of a level 10. It does the spells of a level 10. It's got abilities like a level 10. Oh, I should have ate something. I'll eat something when I get back. And then when you kill it, you get the XP for a level 1. Because that's what it is. That's what the book says it's supposed to have for XP. Sure, but the problem is you changed everything else about the creature, making it no longer like the book. So why aren't we getting our full XP? Oh, that's right, because you don't want us to level. Because you hate when we level because we get new abilities that make it easier for us to survive. And you want us dead. I really feel his goal is a TPK. Or the other thing that he really wants is for the character he controls to save the day. I know that is part of his thought process because we have discussed our plans as characters before in other campaigns, and he holds back. Now, I'm not saying don't hold back your abilities when you don't need them, but he holds back fighting at all because he's afraid that, or because he wants to save everybody and be the big hero instead of being a, team player, um, which is super irritating. Uh, and so, yeah, so then we go to this next part. All right. And the book says that when the players enter this area, which is a swamp with an island in the middle of it, they can see a battle taking place on the island. And if they step onto the island, it's an illusion, sort of. It's a trap spell. And so then the players become one of the things they saw fighting on the island. And if they win, good. If they die, then they take a bunch of psychic damage from dying in the memory illusion. Well, that's not, of course, how we get to play it um, because why would we follow the directions on anything? And so, as soon as we enter the big open chamber, we immediately get yanked into the fake fight. It's so far across the chamber from where we were at that I couldn't even see all of the characters involved. So, so I'm just like, because we'd fought this huge fight, because he cheated on the dominate person. He also attacked my character twice, with the biggest attacks he had, from the other characters. And what I mean by that is, dominate person lets you take control over a person, and so uh, he 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 used the rogue's ability to they added a new ability where a rogue, if they don't move on their turn, can give themselves advantage. Um, Actually, it might be. I don't know if that's a rogue only thing. I think it is a rogue only thing. So rogues can give themselves advantage, which means they can use their um, sneak attack, which is a bunch of extra damage. And so he attacks my guy because I can tell, he is mad about my character last night because two trolls add during the fight. Now that's fine. That was supposed to happen. And even if he added in some extra creatures, I'm fine with that. As long as we get what we're supposed to get. And so the two trolls come, and he has them charge right up to my fighter. Well, they didn't have enough movement to get to my fighter and attack, so they had to use their turn to move twice. Because you can move, and then you have an action, and you can use that action again to move. And so he moves twice, and moves right up to my character, but can't do anything but stand there. So I move up to them, the one space remaining, and I attack. And so my first hit misses, but I use an ability called Precision Strike, which lets me roll an extra die and add that to my number, which put me over the number I needed to hit him with. So my first attack hits, my second attack hits, and I've reached the point where I have enough extra points on my attacks that I've been rolling big attacks, we call them. And so big attack is a -5 penalty to your hit, but a +10 damage if you do hit. And so they're getting to be pretty big hits. In fact, I think I hit one guy for 70 damage with my 2 attacks. Like I hit 35 and 35. And well, some of that also is because the DM gave me that fire sword instead of the +2 sword I wanted. I wanted the +2 sword because it would negate the part of the -5. That's what I wanted. I wanted the +2 to negate the 5, part of the 5, and just give me, at the time, it would have given me a +5 to my attack rolls, and so my attacks would have been just a straight D20 roll. Well, he wasn't having that, so he gave me that other sword that has 0 added to the attack. I mean, it gets the +5 for my strength, and it gets the +4, I think, from... yeah, it's got to be +4 from our proficiency now, which is how good you are at using your skills. It goes up as you go up levels. And so, anyways, fire sword. I get a +4 now on the attacks with the fire sword, which is my proficiency because my strength bonus negates the -5 penalty, I guess. I mean, it doesn't negate it. It's still a -5, and it would be a +9 otherwise. Because as you go up levels, you get better with your weapons, and it's easier for you to hit things, right? And so, anyways, the fire sword does an extra 2d6 fire damage, which I feel is too powerful for us. But I also feel he made his bed. He wouldn't let me have the +2 sword that he said we could have. That's the thing. It's not that I'm being petty because I didn't get the weapon I want. The thing is that he told us we could have anything basically that that was of a certain rarity level or lower, and then he backed out on that when I wanted to get this weapon, which I didn't think was overpowered. It was only 1 better than what I had. 1 point better. And what that translates into is when I roll a d20, I got to add 1 more to the number. 1 more. And so somehow in his mind, adding 1 more... Oh, and I got 1 more damage. So somehow in his mind, adding 1 more was too powerful. But adding 2 to 12 more, that was fine. Oh, right. Gotta get some food. Anyways, so I hit the troll, use precision strike to make sure I hit because I missed. I rolled low. I knew I rolled too low. I rolled like a 12. And I'm like, all right, well, 12's not going to hit. And then our DM is like, yeah, 12 don't hit. I'm like, okay, well, I wanted to finish taking my... He didn't even let me finish taking my turn a couple of times last night as well, which he does a lot. I had attacked, and then I moved, and then I couldn't get close enough, but I could have thrown a weapon, and he didn't let me even finish my attack there. But, oh. And so, anyways, I hit his troll with 2 attacks. I don't remember how much damage it did with them, but it's in the high 20s to low mid 30s every time I hit now. And And so hit him twice. So I've been around 70 damage. And then there's two of them. And I wasn't particularly comfortable with having that many guys on the board at the time. So I used an ability I have called Action Surge, which lets me attack 2 more times. And so my next attack killed the first troll. And then I swung again at the troll remaining. So 3 attacks went on the first troll, killing it. 1 attack on the second troll. Now, because I killed the creature, I get to attack an extra time. And so I attacked 1 more time. And so I hit him twice. You know, it wasn't a big deal. I didn't think. Well, then he comes out with this dominate thing where he uses it on the thief and my bard, and then he casts the biggest spell my bard has against my fighter because I killed the troll. And then he also had the thief use his special ability to let him use sneak attack to hit my fighter, and so he's trying to kill my fighter. And so the first attack took me down to like my 20s in damage, in hit points, I mean. And then has me cast Synaptic Static, right? Which is a AoE spell, hits lots of things. And so he says that the Synaptic Static would be cast right at my fighter. Now, his character that he controls, he controls 2 characters. His character has a robot dog. And so the 2 of them attacked the creatures that are now sending their people to attack me. I had not attacked those creatures. I had attacked... Well, I tried to. I cast a spell. He countered it. I didn't even look to see if they had counter attack or counter spell. I should look that up. And I'm going to look that up. I'm going to... You know what? I get over here in my base. I'm going to look that up. I want to know if they even have counter spell. That's a rare thing. That's not something that just everybody has. I don't know if those guys had counterspell. I think he doubly cheated and I didn't even realize it last night. Alright. Let me see here. I'll load this up and really? I thought I was searching in the whatever. No, they don't have counterspell. Ugh. So it counterspelled my spell, which the creatures don't have the ability to do. Did that just grab everything out of there? Nice. And then said he rolled super high to half the damage of my other attack. But then he rolled this dominate person, and so he I can't get past this point, right? I've been at this point like a billion times now. So the rogue hits me, takes like half my hit points. He's also got control of my bard, and my bard casts a Synaptic Static. And he says this Synaptic Static's cast against my fighter. Well, that technically kills my fighter, but he's got an ability so that when he's reduced to 0 hit points 1 time per long rest, he is instead reduced to 1 hit point. It's called Relentless Endurance, I think. It just means that, you know, he should have got knocked down, but he's got that 1 last ounce of oomph. It's why I always use half work, always, as my fighter class race now, because of Relentless Endurance. It's usually just enough to keep me up and, you know, keep me fighting. And and then I'm like, all right, so that's where he cast it. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, okay, well, it's 40 feet across, so it also hits the bard. And so I double roll because I have advantage on charms, and dominate is a charm. So I double roll and break the charm because I took damage from my own spell because he attacked my fighter. And yeah, so we killed those guys, and then we moved on to that island, and then he made us fight on the island. And I think that's about where we finished last night. He decided he was going to quit there because he was irritated that we kept winning. Yes, the other guy usually quits around 11:30, and it was 5 minutes till 11:30, so it's probably a good spot to quit. But the other guy hadn't said anything, and the DM is just like, "Yep, we're gonna stop here because he's got to go." The guy had never said anything about having to go. In fact, the night before, he had said that day, the day we were playing, he had the day off. So I don't know if he has to work today. Uh-oh. I tried to auto move this guy so that I could scratch my ear. But yeah, that was our gaming session last night. It was irritating. I'm more irritated now because I found out that those guys didn't have counter charm. It's that kind of stuff, man. We didn't get a bonus to XP. They don't have those abilities. When you add abilities to a monster, it makes it harder. And if it's harder, it's worth more XP. That's it. That's all there is to it. If he would just give us more XP, like he doesn't even want us to have XP anyways, but if he would just give us XP, counter charm's a big deal. Counter charm, he raised the spell save DC. He probably buffed his rules too. So irritating. So irritating. All right, well, I am gonna call it here for today, and I might run out and finish moving my stuff over. I'm just about done here, it looks like, so so be better in the small things, lean in the light. I will talk to you later.